Oilers Nation After Dark begins now.
Well, they sure do love to make it interesting. Connor McDavid with a play that only Connor McDavid can make, undressing not one, but two Blues defenders on that play. And do you want to know who those two Blues players were? None other than Dylan Holloway and Philip Broberg. All Darnell Nurse wanted for his 30th birthday was a big fat W. While it was a little bit closer than we would have enjoyed or wanted, he still got his birthday wish. Happy 30th to Darnell. Some of us wished for a Nurse anytime goal, but whatever. As the Edmonton Oilers come back, they blow a lead, they win it in overtime and defeat the St. Louis Blues. Hello, what up, and welcome to Oilers Nation After Dark. After I just finished throwing up in my trash can because that move from Connor McDavid was so fucking gross, so sick, so disgusting. Whatever verbiage you want to use, I apologize for the mess I made in there. I'm joined this evening by my pal, Zach Laing. What a goal. What a moment there. What a pass. Connor McDavid, I love you.
Yeah, unbelievable, man. Just another huge performance from him. 3 points tonight. He had the goal, 2 primary assists. He dances Holloway. He dances Broberg. And finally, the Connor-to-Connor connection comes to fruition. That was a whole bit that I had last year at the start of the season when Connor Brown came in. And unfortunately, it never quite worked out very well last year. It took Connor Brown a little bit to get going last season. But it was great to see him capitalize here on this one. May not have had an easier goal, Connor Brown, because, boy, he got set up on a platter.
I'm not going to lie to you. I was shocked that Connor Brown even still scored that goal because I felt like that's one that, and speaking of wide open cages, Robert Thomas with the missed opportunity of all missed opportunities in this game. He also got tripped near there at the end. They were held by Leon Draisaitl. Was all over the place in this hockey game. There was a lot going on, but let's check in first things first with the chat because you know how we roll here. And Percy's in and he says, hello, first in the division again. Sole possession of first again, I will say. Vinny says Skinner, great overtime save on Broberg and Brown's first career NHL overtime winner. Austin, get the likes up in this chat. Get the party started. Austin doing much better on the After Dark. Jessica, winning goal from Brown and the Vegas Golden Knights lose. Happy days, TB. I hope it's Tom Brady. Says, cup year, because it is, in fact, a cup year. Connor Brown, this made me laugh. He said, Browntown, Missouri, followed up by St. Louis. Nah, St. Brown, baby, because it's a cup year. Connor Brown, your world, we're just living in it this evening. Allison says, Brownie, you're her king. Then Kiana, the comeback kids do it again. Yeah, they sure do. Like I said off the hop, they just love to make it interesting. And it's bad for my heart, but damn it, it is good television when you're out there. West Side, Holloway and Broberg got walked by their former captain. Lance says, never count this team out. Waddy, man, nothing the easy way, that's for sure. And then Connor Brown again, because it's his night, smoking that Blues pack. R.I.P. Broberg. We then, you know how we roll here. We got super chats. Shout out to every one of you, all of your super chats in support of the Ben Stelter Foundation. Shout out to Janias is in with $2 and says, Stu saving 10 without letting 3 go past him. Woof. All right. Rusty's in, says Stu, elite. Davo, elite. Dry, elite. Boosh, elite. This team has something special brewing. It's a cup year. And Rusty there, staying true to the reckless optimist name in there. Tammy, my queen, I tip my hat to you. Just thank God. Stick taps, hearts, and a cup year for Benny Boy. TB's in. Just gave us 99 cents. Didn't really say anything else. I appreciate you. I thank you very much for that. K Swisher 6969. Oh, almost just missed the first one there. He says Ginger Power. Shout out. You don't need a soul to score an overtime goal like that. Southpaw 569 says, let's go orange and blue. That was a game. Anyway, cup, yeah. And then finally, Dayton's in $5. Shout out to Vegas for going 2-8 in their last 10 because it is a cup. Yeah. Oh, I love this chat, and I love the Edmonton Oilers, especially in games like this. Honestly, to start this one, I thought we were going to talk about the Edmonton Oilers and their inability to capitalize on their chances. I'm getting a little prepped here, Zach, and I'm going, wow, it's kind of eerily similar to the Detroit game, kind of eerily similar to the Toronto game. And then the late game heroics of the Edmonton Oilers show up and show out. You mentioned it there with Connor McDavid and the unreal performance he put on this evening. But Leon Draisaitl, like, it was funny because Jack and Lou even said it on the broadcast for the game tying goal. Everybody in that building knows where that puck is going. You know it's going to end up on Leon's stick in his office at the top of the faceoff dot. And Connor, the play before, tries to feed it in tight to our boy Corey Perry, gets the puck back and goes, I'm not trying that again. I'm going back to the well. I'm going back to Leon Draisaitl. Zachary, the stars of the Edmonton Oilers. We knew we were going the dynamic duo, maybe not supernova, but it was Leon Connor and Corey Perry, who I also thought was fantastic with the duo as well. Those two firmly were the stars this evening, and they kind of put the Oilers on their backs.
Yeah, absolutely. The stars were shining tonight, man. I mean, 3 points from Connor McDavid, goal and an assist from Leon Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard. He's clearly got it between the ears. 2 big apples for him tonight, right? Huge game from the stars for the Edmonton Oilers. Draisaitl, 8 shots on goal, Bouchard, 6 shots on goal, McDavid, 1 shot on goal. But boy, did he make it count, eh? I mean, it was just great to see, right? You mentioned that winner in overtime, or the Leon Draisaitl goal rather. Hilarious. It's just like, how many times, like, it's like, oh, fell for it again. Oh, fell for it again. Oop, fell for it again. Like, just time and time again, right? It's pretty crazy to see. You'd think that teams at this point would just like have a guy just like stand in front of Draisaitl, like Sean Avery to Martin Brodeur many years ago, just waving his stick in front of his face, like doing something to try and distract him, right? But yeah, no, the Oilers clearly capitalized on it, man. And like, what a weird game just in general too. Like, we were texting and we were talking about like, this game is flying by. Like, that first and second period was just like boom, and it was over. It was like, oh geez, second intermission already. Like, holy smokes, right? And then slow third period, a very slow feeling third period, right? You got Cam Fowler trips up Matthias Ekholm a minute in. Oilers get the power play. They can't seem to capitalize. And then the Matthias Ekholm penalty. I mean, come on. Like, that was the softest baby shit penalty I have ever seen. That was the cleanest of clean hits. How many times a game do you see guys line up for hits very similar to that? Now, granted, maybe it doesn't have the boom factor that Matthias Ekholm's did there. But yeah, there you go. But you see that happen so many times in hockey games. You see it happen in every level of hockey. Pretty egregious call there as far as I was concerned. And then, they get one on the power play, the Blues. Then Colton Parayko scores, and it's like, oh God, here we go again. And then, like, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, God, here we go again. Draisaitl tied it up. And I think it was Louis or Jack. I can't remember. One of them made a joke like, oh, hopefully there's no offside on this one, right? Because it was like, oh, man, deja vu in the worst way possible there. So, yeah, crazy game, man. Crazy, crazy game all around. For them to come back and win it in overtime the way that they did, huge 2 points for the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Okay, couple things to unpack there. First, when Jack and Louie made that comment, I was busy high-fiving and jumping around, screaming curse words. They said that. I ran back in the room because I was just like, wait, holy shit, like, you got to be kidding me right now. And then I noticed the ticker on the clock going, and I was like, oh my God, they're just screwing with me. Like, oh my God, I don't know. I got trust issues for a reason, and that can definitely be one of them. The other thing you mentioned, that call on Ekholm was such absolute bullshit. I was ready to blow a fuse sitting here on my couch. I couldn't even understand. We would have lost our minds if we were together at the office. That was such a weak call. And like you mentioned, we've seen that movie before. You knew that the St. Louis Blues were going to score on that one. Hockey gods looking down on us, though, somehow avoid the Leon Draisaitl penalty in overtime, which was 1,000% a clear-ass penalty. So shout out to the referee for that one. But you also mentioned there the pace of the game and the actual real time of the game. It was flying by in the first 40, and then the last period did kind of slow down. But in general, inside the game, to start this one, there was a high pace to start this. I blinked, we're 10 minutes in. I blinked, we're in the third period. But the Oilers' starts have been an issue lately, and I thought the first period was pretty damn good from the Oilers. Very dominant, I might even say. The shots 13-3 for the Oilers. They dominated the puck possession, and they were playing with that incredible pace up and down the ice that I was talking about. They were kind of rolling lines as well. And the Blues only had 3 shots in the period. However, 2 of those shots were the definition of high danger in the slot. Stuart Skinner barely tested in the first 20, but he had some big stops. But other than those 2 shots, I'd say that was a close to near perfect first period from the Edmonton Oilers. That's exactly how you hope to start a road trip, even though it is just a simple back-to-back roadie in St. Louis and Chicago. But, there they were again, and I thought it was going to be a theme until the boys just take over in the final minutes of this hockey game. But it kind of felt like as it was going along that it was the same story as the Toronto game, the Detroit game, that you were getting the chances, you were getting the opportunities. The Oilers were just struggling to finish. And yes, Jordan Binnington played good. I don't think I would ever use the term goalied in one like this, but the Oilers were fighting it offensively for what felt like 58 minutes of this hockey game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they just couldn't figure out a way to kind of break through when they needed to, right? You mentioned that first period, like according to Natural Stat Trick at 5-on-5, the Oilers had 14 scoring chances, 9 high danger chances in that first period. They had 2.06 expected goals in the first period alone. Absolutely ridiculously good first frame from the Edmonton Oilers. You want to talk about maybe a perfect first period? I mean, that's probably as close as you can get for the Edmonton Oilers, right? You mentioned just 3 shots for the Blues. There was 2 high danger scoring chances. Just really, really great stuff from the Edmonton Oilers, though, in that period. They kept the Blues to the outside. They limited what they were able to do. They really dominated the pace of play in that period. And, I thought St. Louis had a bit of a pushback in that second period. The first 10 was, fairly stagnant. It felt like St. Louis kind of got their legs going a little bit in the back half of that period, right? But I mean, it just, by the end of it, it was just like, okay, yeah, the Oilers are starting to kind of turn it back on here. They took it back over late in that second period, and then, fresh sheet of ice for the third, and another really strong period for the Oilers.
Shots in total in the game, 38 for the Oilers, 22 for the St. Louis Blues. And that's something the Oilers have been doing all season, is pound the puck on net. Shout out Leon, shout out Dry, shout out McDavid as well, because Bordzy's Bankroll. Chef's kiss this evening, people. But let's talk about the goaltending, because it kind of felt like the tale of 2 different ones here for Stuart Skinner, because another up and down performance, I guess I will say. In total, Stu makes 20 saves on 22 shots for a .909 save percentage. There's 900 for the box score hunters. But I thought Stu was awesome really up until that third period. Like I mentioned, barely tested in that first 20 minutes, but the saves that he did have to make were absolutely incredible. And then another one, shout out Jeff Skinner, who we will talk about him and his defensive game a little bit later on this show, because both Skinners were starting this game off very hot. The 2 that Skinner saw in that period, very, very high danger, but they were tough saves. They were big saves, and they were the saves you needed for the Oilers to stay in the game. And I can't lie, we've seen Stuart Skinner allow the first shot against multiple times this season, more than I would ever like to admit, but he was on his game to start this one in the second period, where you mentioned the Blues get that pushback. Well, Stuart Skinner was there, and he stood tall. He had a huge breakaway poke check attempted save, I guess we'll say, on Jake Neighbors as he's coming in with speed, and it really felt like a big bounce back performance for Stu. It still is a big bounce back, as there you see his numbers on the evening with a .909, and then the third period comes around and he gets beat in a matter of 3 or 4 minutes, and then you saw right after that, felt like Stu maybe after the second goal was a little bit rattled, because as we saw Robert Thomas missing the wide open cage of all wide open cages. That could have been a 2-goal lead. Should have been a 2-goal lead. Skinner wildly out of position on that one. But once again, hey, he gets the W. He gets it done in overtime. Huge save on Philip Broberg, sliding side to side. And then moments later, Broberg has to pick himself up off the ice after dealing with what Connor McDavid did to him. But Zachary, your thoughts on Stuart Skinner? He's been, will always be a hot button topic. Goaltending in Edmonton. Your thoughts on Stu tonight?
Hey, 909 save percentage. That's not bad as far as I'm concerned, right? I mean, we like to see that, you know. We talked about Skinner before, you know, the game tonight, talked about some of the struggles that he's had and the hot and the cold and all that kind of stuff. This was a great performance from him as far as I was concerned. You know, according to Evolving Hockey, he saved 0.53 goals above expected tonight. So that's a nice little mark right there for him. And he was strong throughout the game. Like, he made some big saves in the second and third for the Oilers to kind of keep him in that game, right? You know, I think I would have liked to see a bit of a better response from the team in general after the Blues first goal, after that Kyrou goal. You know, would have liked to see him kind of get a little bit of a better reset there and not give one up, you know, 3.5 minutes later. But it kind of felt like everybody was a little bit rattled in that situation. There, right? And it took them a little bit of time to kind of quiet down or calm themselves back down from it. Again, you know, not a penalty. I think we can all agree on that. It shouldn't have been a penalty. And I think even more so too, like, you know, you mentioned it before, like the Draisaitl non-call in overtime, like that was like the makeup non-call of all makeup non-calls. You know what I mean? Like it really was. And I think it also just speaks to the fact that, you know, Stripes probably realized they got it wrong on that Ekholm one in the moment, right? So, you know, there's only so much you can do in those situations, and credit to the Oilers for being able to kind of collect themselves and get their feet back underneath them in that third period. So, you know, again, you just can never count this team out of games, right? And Stuart Skinner was a big reason why the Oilers were able to kind of hold on. I thought he had some nice saves in that third period. In overtime, he had a couple of nice stops as well. I thought it was a really solid performance from him.
Yeah, a lot of people in here. Stu was decent tonight. Blues push back good, it says Lansky Minecraft. Not Stu's best, but he made some much needed saves. And once again, you get the W. I totally agree with you, and picking up what you're laying down. There was a stretch that it wasn't just Stu, but it was the whole team where it felt like they were losing grip. It was getting away from them. Everything was getting away, and you could kind of feel the panic. And then give Stuart Skinner credit. He did dig deep. And once again, something that Stu has been doing all season long, has a bad game. Last one against Toronto, comes out again here, delivers above a 900 and grabs a W. Say what you want about Stuart Skinner. The man does bounce back. Now, a lot of you might say it's because he has bad performances. We're not doing that because the Oilers caught a big fat orange W this evening. Let's go now to the Greta Bar-Yeg scoring summary. This one, not that long, but I'm excited to watch that Connor Brown goal at least 800 times right now in the scoring summary. Shout out to Greta. We love him very much. And people, we are going to be there upcoming for Team Canada taking on Team USA for the Four Nations facing off, as our pal Sidney Crosby would say, who got in a weird injury scare tonight, but he did look like he was okay. Come on down to Greta, February 15th. It's a Saturday. Doors open at 4 p.m. You can get $10 tickets at nationgear.ca or get $40 VIP tickets. And people, you're hanging out with me. I mentioned it on pre-gaming. I do all these events here. I host all the parties. But normally I have to do pre-gaming and this very show we're watching right now. But not for Canada, USA. I am strictly on party patrol for this one. So people, get your tickets. Shout out to Fountain Tire. Shout out to Greta Bar. And once again, because we know all of the proceeds are going to the very place your super chats are going, in the Ben Stelter Foundation, a cause extremely near and dear to all of our hearts. Let's kick it off here with the scoring summary, and we'll start with Connor McDavid because it was his night. We're just living in it. His 22nd goal of the season. It's a power play goal assisted by Evan Bouchard and Leon Draisaitl. McDavid, he circles up at the face-off dot, and then he kind of gets in there. He hones in. He focuses in, and he uses Justin Folk as a human screen better than you can do something like that, and absolutely labeled this one. I don't think Binnington really ever saw it, and this is the type of play, and we all feel this way. How many times do you scream, Connor, shoot during the game? Because this is the result you get. We all know what he's capable of doing. We've seen the guy score a shit ton of goals in his Edmonton Oilers career before. This one kind of felt like all right, I'll just do it myself here, rip this one on net, and chef's kiss, beautiful snipe.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. I mean, this is just a great play here for McDavid, right? A great shot from that spot there, picks his corner, absolutely wires it, right? This was a really nice one because, you could see the Oilers again in that first period really struggling to kind of break through and find a way to get a goal, right? So, for McDavid to kind of put the team on his back the way that he did here, step down, walk down from the point more or less and wire that one. Really, really great to see, and a great first goal, great opening goal for the Edmonton Oilers tonight.
Yeah, a little hop on my back, boys, and that was just a precursor to what he would do later on. We go to the third period. That goal came in the second. A lot of action, but a lot of non-action, I guess you could say at the same time. It's Jordan Kyrou, 23rd of the season, power play goal for the St. Louis Blues, and it's an old friend in Dylan Holloway getting the first assist. He rips it on Stuart Skinner, has lots of space here. Wait, are we watching the McDavid goal right now?
I think we are still, yeah. It's just so good. We could just watch it for hours,
I was like, that's not Dylan Holloway. Wait, is it? There's Dylan Holloway throwing one on net, and Stuart Skinner makes the first save on this on the PK. The scramble ensues in front, and you see Jordan Kyrou, side of the net, just Johnny on the spot, super timely, gets on that one. He's able to get it to cross the goal line. This kind of honestly reminded me of like two of the goals against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Both came on the power play. Both of them, Stuart Skinner makes the first save. Puck just isn't cleared in front. And it's a debate we had on ONE of, is it shitty rebound control or is it your defenseman in front needing to clear the front of the net? I don't know. Either way, Jordan Kyrou, 23rd of the season, ties it up here.
Yeah, kind of tough to leave Kyrou all alone in that spot on the side of the net, right? I think that one's a little bit more blown coverage. Yeah, you'd like to see Stu kind of swallow that up, but it was a bit of a bouncing puck, right? So kind of a tough one. I wouldn't fully blame Skinner on that one. Like, I mean, I think you gotta watch out for a guy like Kyrou at the side of the net there, right? So bit of a weird one. Of course, ex-Oiler gets a point against the Edmonton Oilers. Like, come on. Like, did we expect anything different happening here tonight? Dylan Holloway's been having some nice games he's putting together over there in St. Louis. Unfortunately, got on the scoreboard tonight.
Dead to me. Dead to me are the only three words that I have there when it comes to Dylan Holloway. We then go to a local boy, at least in Colton Parayko, a Team Canada, Four Nations facing off team member, but the top line of the St. Louis Blues, they go to work, dude, and we knew fully what they were capable of. We talked about it on pre-gaming. These are the guys that you need to watch for. They don't score a ton of goals, but these are the guys that do the goal scoring, and it's Robert Thomas driving down low with a beautiful cross-ice feed to Colton Parayko, who scores his 12th goal of the season. The dude has been putting the puck in the back of the net, buries this one into a wide open cage. And of course, kind of just felt like this one was going to come around here at this point. But Robert Thomas, that's a great play. That's a great pass. And Colton Parayko, yeah, I guess he's a goal scorer from the back end, 12 this season. Hopefully he brings that to Team Canada.
Yeah, he's on a Darnell Nurse-esque heater there, 12 goals so far this season, eh? Bordzy, I was thinking about it, man. Like, it feels like every time I do pre and post with you, you always are like, Zach, who are your key players to watch from the other team tonight? And it feels like every single time I end up like saying like, oh, it's this guy or this line, or you got to watch out for these guys. And they end up doing some kind of damage. Like it was like Mark Castle, like a couple of weeks ago, scored a goal against the Oilers. And who is it again here getting on the scoreboard? Well, it was the St. Louis's top line, who I said we had to keep an eye out for tonight. Well, Jordan Kyrou gets the power play goal, and Robert Thomas and Buchnevich get assists on the second goal. So I think next time you ask me that question, I'm just going to plead the fifth and say there's nobody to watch for on the opposing team. But you know what? Again, like the Oilers seemed a bit rattled here, right? So They're kind of chasing after the puck. Parayko's able to step down, take that shot. It's a great shot. Give him credit for it. Like you said, hopefully he can keep that up for Team Canada here coming.
Absolutely. A man can dream. And Zachary, it's almost like we spend every single day and waking hour talking about hockey, looking up hockey, and maybe, no, actually, no, I was about to say maybe we should just start betting on your player to watch. But no, I'd rather get hit by a bus than bet on the St. Louis Blues. That is simply not an option. My name is not Matthew Wozniak, because we could also ride with Bordzy's Bankroll, which I will say again went perfect today. Don't worry, you'll hear from me a little bit later on. And then it's the boy, it's the man, it's the best player this season in Leon Draisaitl, scoring his 37th goal of the year. The Oil got the goalie pulled with the empty net. And of course, it's McDavid over to Draisaitl in his office. You just knew this one was going to go. I mentioned it before. How does everybody else on the ice not know? But it's like the same thing as the Stamkos one-timer, the Obi one-timer. You know it's coming from there. Sometimes there just is literally nothing you can do, especially when the guy passing him the puck is in fact number 97, Connor McDavid, and already roofed one past your goaltender from that very angle earlier in the game. This was a long time coming, and Leon Draisaitl, ice in his goddamn veins.
Yeah, absolutely. Just a great shot here again from Leon Draisaitl. It's interesting because if you watch it again, and we'll see it this next time here, watch the defenseman on the far side of the ice closest to McDavid there. That's Cam Fowler, who, not a great defenseman or anything like that, but a guy that's been around for a long time. And as soon as the pass is off McDavid's stick is when he starts to move. And it's too late, right? It just comes across so quickly, and that shot is off so quickly from Draisaitl. Give the St. Louis Blues an oops fell for it again award here, because they fell for it twice here, because you can even see McDavid on this first time here where the puck rims around the boards. Like, he's wanting to go across the ice there, whether it's to the front of the net or to Draisaitl on the back door there. So, to see McDavid just load back up and do the exact same thing again and it to work, it's just like, you can't help but kind of just laugh at it, right? Like, you kind of can't. Like, it's just so unstoppable. Like you said, whether it was Stamkos in his prime or Ovechkin still nowadays in his office, it's such a hard thing to be able to stop.
Shout out Ovechkin. He scored an empty net goal tonight with 0.1 on the clock all the way from center ice. He's going to do it, dude. He's totally going to do it. And I can't wait to see it when he in fact does do it. But Leon Draisaitl, he's the best goal scorer on planet Earth right now. And as I mentioned, 37 of them on the season so far. We then head on over to overtime. And Pat, you can keep this one on loop for the next hour. I do not care. Connor McDavid doing Connor McDavid things, going in first, undressing Dylan Holloway 3-on-3 overtime. It's got him looking the completely wrong way. And then my favorite part of all of this is looking at Broberg at the end, having to pick himself up off the ice and having to watch Connor Brown and Connor McDavid, the Connor to Connor connection that you mentioned there. And we saw it a couple games ago, right? I joked on pregame today. We saw Connor Brown on the top line 2 games ago. Now, 2 games later, he started today's game on the 4th line. It truly is wild what Nobby does with the line combinations. But this man, Nobby, he's got the pulse of this team on his wristwatch. He knows everything about him. He gets Connor Brown out there, fresh legs at this point left in the overtime. It was at the halfway point. Brownie gets a shift, maybe not necessarily a guy you would think to get the 3-on-3 overtime, but he skates well, competes hard, plays defense. And here he gets rewarded with, as you mentioned, one of the easiest goals he's ever going to have to score.
Yeah, absolutely. Connor Brown took 3 shifts in the final 10 minutes of that game. Obviously didn't take a shift in overtime prior to this, right? Ice in the veins is a great way to describe Chris Novla, man. I mean, just a great call from him, sending Brownie over the boards here in this situation. Right place, right time. It almost looked like it was Leon Draisaitl down there. Like, you just swap the hands there, and that's Draisaitl letting that one go. So, great to see Brownie get one here. I think Jack mentioned it on the call, 22 games without a goal for him. So it's been a hot minute. It's been a bit of a slump for him here, but again, he's not being asked to go out there and score goals every single night. He does what he does really well. That's play solid defensive hockey. Great overtime winner here for the team. And again, you regain sole possession of first place in the Pacific Division here. That's a huge reason why this is a big win. They overcome the poor reffing with the column at TS Ekholm. They overcome the deficit of St. Louis getting back into the game here. And it's all in pretty short order too, right? I mean, it's not a lot of time from that second St. Louis goal to them actually winning it in terms of, the full length of a game or anything like that. So great job from them kind of responding here with a big win tonight.
I basically, I'm doing my prep for this show as the game goes along, and I'm like, well, okay, I'm feeling towards a W here. I'm writing most things, and then bing, bang, boom, we're down, and I'm just deleting everything positive I had written down. And then we're going to do the Edmonton Oilers thing and find a way to win this. And I go, nah, vibes are impeccable. I can't be upset about anything as the Oilers come back to defeat the St. Louis Blues by a score of 3-2 with Brett's not here, but an overtime winner. Shout out Kevin Quinn. We miss you. Yeah, that was okay. Like, it's no Brett.
That was pretty good. That was a pretty good impression.
That was do my best. Brett's not dead, but we can pay an homage to him as well. He's at home. Maybe he's even in the chat. I'll probably get a text chirping me in a moment. But Oil win 3-2. Skinner 20 of 22 saves for a 909. Binnington 35 of 38 for a 921 save percentage. Where McDavid 3.9, 1 goal, 2 assists. Leon 1 goal, 1 assist. And there you see it. The first big orange W wait, let me drop it down so I'm in there. Big orange W of the month of February. Off to a tough start against the Leafs. We're back in the win column, people. Oilers were actually facing a 3-game losing streak had they lost this one. And before we go here to the good, the bad, and the oily, I got to see where I left off with from the Super Chats, because Minister is in. Is that pounds? He says Johnny Craig with the OT winner. What kind of money is that? Is that pounds?
That would be pounds, yeah.
All right. So does that mean that's like $4?
Something like that, yeah.
Roughly. Shout out Minister, baby. And then someone who I've never seen in this chat before just threw down a ton for the Super Chat with the best name in the chat and now the best photo in the chat. It is Cup Yeah in the chat, delivering $69.99. Nice. And his message is simply Cup Yeah. You guys are the absolute best. I want to see Cup Yeah in here all the time. And I got to say it exactly like that every single time. There's a lot of you guys. You guys are the best. Soggy Corpse, maybe not as good of a name as Cup Yeah, is in here. And he says, Cup Yeah. Skinner looked disappointed by defending. Okay, I can get down with that. Let's move now to the good, the bad, and the oily. Brought to you by Oodle Noodle. Where, people? We got the Nation vacation coming up. Obviously, you should check nationgear.ca. You can find flight options. You can find non-flight options. You can even just get your ticket to watch with us down there in the Stella Artois Lounge, which is extra bougie. So you got this. You can go to nationgear.ca, or if you wanted to get rewarded for eating copious amounts of delicious noodles, but you got to do it in person, head on down to Oodle Noodle, because you yourself can come on the Nation vacation. Wow, I'm stumbling on my words. Come on the Nation vacation by simply eating Oodle Noodle. We're going on the trip March 30th to April 2nd. You got to go in store to be entered into these raffles and these draws and these prizes. I've met the people before that won the Oodle Noodle contest and got to come out to, I think it was last year, we went to Arizona. We went to Scottsdale. Could you imagine getting a trip this awesome for free solely because you were eating 1,000-year flavor, Tokyo glaze, some ginger beef? Well, people, you could come out and party with us by simply munching down on some Oodle Noodle, like I said on pre-gaming. I hope you ordered some this evening. It's fantastic. And once again, say it all the time. Shout out to Gina in the chat, because she also says, come to Vegas in all capitals. She bleeds Oilers. She also bleeds Oodle Noodle. All right, let's start it off with the good here, and hit it for me, Patrick, because the good, we went with Jeff Skinner and his defense this evening. Skinner's defensive game is steadily improving right now, and he's made a couple of strides in that area lately, right? Tonight, He had 2 incredible back checks in the first period, preventing a goal, maybe even preventing 2 goals. And I want to give Chris Knobloch credit, right? Because Nobby has not wavered in this whole Jeff Skinner commitment to defense thing. And sure, it's taken 50 plus games for us to get to this point, but you've kind of seen a little bit of a reinventment of Jeff Skinner and his game. Way more commitment, the back checks, the hard skating, the stick lifts, just clutch plays in the defensive end, and his work back to the puck tonight specifically. What caught my eye, and I'm seeing progression. I'm seeing growth. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Jeff Skinner lately, and you might not believe it, Zachary, but Nobby had Jeff Skinner out with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl down a goal in the final minutes of that third period. Hallelujah. Not going to get too ahead of myself because obviously he'll probably be a healthy scratch tomorrow night when they're in Chicago. I'm kidding. But Jeff Skinner and his defense, it's been coming along here lately, and it's taken a minute for sure, but we are starting to see these improvements. And I think, Zach, you might even have some highlights to show it.
Yeah, Pat, if you could roll the clip. Sportsnet aired this little highlight package of some defensive plays from Jeff Skinner, from the first and second period. And it's just great to see from him, right? And Stoff talked about, the reinvention of his game here. And this is exactly what the Oilers have kind of been wanting to see from Jeff Skinner, right? Like stuff like this is what goes a long way. And if there's one thing that we've kind of learned about Chris Knobloch over, the last year and a half, that he's been here, he loves a good 200-foot player, right? He wants somebody who can be, before they're good in the offensive zone, he wants them to be good in the defensive zone. And I think that's kind of the message that's been coming Jeff Skinner's way here. It's been a tough go. It really has. But this was a great performance from him tonight. Like, I thought he had a really great game all over the ice tonight. And it's really great to see. This is what they need from veteran players. This is what they need from all players, buying into the system, buying into the bigger picture of what this team is. Hey, Skins, you want to play, buddy? You're going to have to play some defense in a way that you've never really done in your career. Like, Jeff Skinner's never been that player that we're seeing right there in front of us, right? So I think it's a great sign of where the team is at and where Jeff Skinner's at individually too, right? If he can start to play this way and really focus it on this defensive game, it's not like he's going to lose his ability to score goals. I mean, this is a guy who scored 30 so many times in the NHL. He's been a consistent 20-goal guy his whole career. If he can play this way down the stretch and into the playoffs for the Oilers, that'd be really, really nice to see.
The offense will be there. The guy averages 12 minutes a night, and he's already got 9 goals coming in and out of the lineup, playing with fourth-line grinders. Jeff Skinner in the offense is never the concern. It's always been, like you mentioned, Nobby needs a 200-foot guy, and he ain't going to tolerate shit if you're not doing that. But we're starting to see it, and everybody in the chat is agreeing with it. Jeremy with wildly egregious one, but I had to. Skin flute with the big D, all capital. Southpaw's in, says, yes, Jeff Skinner had a great game, Mr. Burns. Baby Skinner's got back check. Tammy says, Knob knows, in Nobby we trust. And once again, he continues to have the pulse of this team. And then Doug mentions this in here, Zachary. He says, swap Jeffrey for RV. That's also the nickname that we're trying to start here. Just slow it down. Get it into 2 letters with RV for Victor Arvidsson. And I noticed a lot of people in the chat earlier talking about that they didn't like Victor Arvidsson's game tonight. I texted you guys at one point and I said, does he know how to skate at some points? Because, man, does he fall over at nauseum sometimes and gets himself out of the play. Like they're in the offensive zone and he falls over and the puck goes back the other way. And I'm going, I bet if you were on your 2 feet, you probably would have had a better option there. But I am curious. It's something like you would have asked me 20 games ago. I go, there's no chance Jeff Skinner is getting that chance top 6, but he might need to do it for a couple more games and seeing this defensive consistency. But we have now seen it for a couple games, even leading into this one. This one, I think, was just the most noticeable defensive game for Jeff Skinner. So who knows? We always talk about the scoring winger that we want to put next to Leon Draisaitl. Well, we all thought Jeff Skinner was that guy when we signed him in the summer. Maybe after 50 games here, marinating on the 4th line, learning how to play defense. You also mentioned he's never been that player. He's also never been to the NHL playoffs before. So I think we've seen the commitment and the want from Jeff Skinner to be better defensively. That's the good. Let's go with the bad now and hit it for me, Patrick, because we've got the Ekholm penalty on this one. Because as I mentioned earlier, that was absolute bullshit. I could not believe that call. It was such a weak call. So, of course, the St. Louis Blues end up scoring on that power play. And first things first, in my opinion, Brayden Schenn touches that puck. It's in his skates. It's in his stick. Shout out, Pat. He's got the replay right here for us. And because of that, you are 100% open for business if Mattias Ekholm wants to come in and give you the boom. Shout out to the Costco guys there. And one thing I'm also so sick of is teams getting in scrums trying to fight after clean hits. That to me is so clean. I don't even understand. Brayden Schenn pops right back up afterwards. Obviously, a scrum ensues. Corey Perry, I believe, was getting in that thing there, talking some shit to Brayden Schenn. But I'm sick of the fights afterwards. I was shocked to see Ekholm get taken to the box here. He himself looked visibly frustrated. He was screaming at the referee, could not believe it. And right, I do not think had the Oilers lost this game, it wasn't because of one call, but it was my key to victory this evening was special teams, and that when a struggling offense like the St. Louis Blues cannot score goals, they had, 6 goals in their last 5 games, something like that. Well, the way that they're going to score and get back on track is if you give them time with the man advantage, you give them unnecessary power plays. And I felt on this one, it was the stripes that gave it to the Blues and then obviously affected the game. They go out and they score. This is also why, and I'm a firm believer in this, say what you want about the NBA. It's a this league kind of league. But I love the NBA ref rules where they have the last 2-minute report and they come out and they have the referee or the NBA say, no, we messed up on this one, or this is why we did this one. Just some accountability. I would like to know, because, hey, it is what it is. The Oilers lose the game, whatever, but I would like a little bit of accountability because this to me is clear as day. That cannot be interference. Jack and Louis said it. This happens like 4 times a game where it's something kind of this close and it usually doesn't get called. But this one, the reason frustrated is they scored right afterwards.
And it's rightly frustrating. I mean, one of the things that, when you're a kid, they teach you when you're starting to play hockey is to keep your head up, not to be watching the puck. Brayden Schenn, what is he doing? He has his head turned back, cranked, watching and waiting for the puck coming to him. And credit to Mattias Ekholm for stepping up and laying the hit, man. Like, that's what you want to see. You got to lay that hit. If you got a guy that's going to just stand around there and wait for the puck to come to him like that, absolutely light him up. And the puck was in his feet. The puck was in his feet when the hit was laid. So, it's frustrating to see this penalty called. It's not a penalty whatsoever. And Bordzy, I agree with you. Like, I think it's time for the NHL to get the referees out here and talking about what's going on, right? Way too protective of them. It doesn't have to be a big scrum. It doesn't have to be, all the reporters crowding around a single referee or anything like that. But, you take a look at the other leagues and what do? They appoint one reporter to go in there and be the pool reporter. Ask 3 or 4 questions, keep it simple, and get some answers for these things. We do know at the end of the day that the referees do get reviewed all the time by their supervisors and stuff like that. Surely this is one that's going to be talked about in the ref rooms here moving forward, because it's not a penalty whatsoever. So it changed the time. It changed the tempo of the game, man. It really did. It was one of those penalties that really changed the makeup of the game. So, and again, credit to the Oilers for sticking with it and finding a way to bounce back.
I feel like the frustrating thing for me is the obscurity and like we don't want to touch it after it happened, because dude, the way in the NBA, you go up, you stand up in front or whatever, you put the tweet out and you say, I fucked up. Dude, that's okay. You're human. I understand that. It's just a little bit of accountability. And then I can sit there later and go, okay, well, do I want robot refs or do I want human refs? Because humans are going to make mistakes, but just some hand up, some accountability, because this one made 0 sense to me. And had the Oilers lost, oh my God, the things we would have said tomorrow on Oilers Nation every day. Sure, there would have been some rants. We get the good, we get the bad. We now get the oily. Hit it for me, Patrick. We just went with the OT winner. we've said enough said. It was absolutely disgusting of a play. Yeah, just one more time, just maybe two more times, Pat. Maybe two more times here, because this thing, it's addictive to watch. McDavid, I know it's been said, right? And I think I could agree with it, that McDavid maybe hasn't had the most Connor McDavid year that you've ever seen, if that makes sense. And I think that does make sense to some people. I say that he had 67 points in 46 games coming into this one. That's still pretty damn good, but this was a play right here. We've been lacking some of the highlight reels goals this season from Connor McDavid. This one is one you can set your watch to. It's gonna be beautiful. It's gonna be a background on my phone by the time this show ends, because that was beautiful. And that'll do it for the good, the bad, and the oily, brought to you by Oodle Noodle. Now, time for your boom and your doom performers of the evening, brought to you by Odd Company, Nation Beer, Everyday Lager. 2 locations in the Edmonton area. You can pick them up downtown. You can pick them up at the Ritchie location, or head to liquorconnect.com and find out which local liquor stores are carrying these bad boys. They are delicious. They are spectacular. 473 milliliters of just golden, beautiful liquid. And I tell you, 2 of these every single Oilers game, because they're tall boys, they hit a little bit different. They'll get you in the perfect state of mind to then come in this post-game chat and start typing away or texting away, firing off some takes, because it's time for you to start firing off your booms and your dooms. Zachary, you're my guest. I would let you go first.
Oh, you are so kind, Bordzy. You know what? I'm going to give this one to the entire team here. This was a great team win. That's what it was tonight for me. It was a great team win. And most importantly, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, Bordzy. The Oilers avoided a 3-game losing streak. Do you want to guess how many 3-game losing streaks the Oilers have had this entire season? I'll give you one guess, and then I'll let you know what it is.
It's at the beginning of the season.
It's at the beginning of the season. They've only had one 3-game losing streak. It's been a great job by the Oilers of really avoiding those 3-gamers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 2-game losing streaks, if you want to call it a losing streak. But they haven't let it get to 3 again since the beginning of the year. So credit where it's due to the whole team for stepping up in a big way.
Yeah, that's a good point, right? It's teams are going to lose games. Good teams are going to lose to bad teams. It is going to happen, but the difference between good, great Stanley Cup contender is not allowing those things to fester and able to patch the dam, if you will. Get some Flex Seal, shout out to Billy Mays, and patch that leak, because that's what the Oilers been doing. RIP Billy Mays as well. For me and my boom, like obviously you can go with the Connor McDavid, you can go with Leon Draisaitl. Like there's all the guys. Bouchard, I thought had a great game, but I'm going to maybe go a little bit off the board. I saw some people putting in the chat earlier as well, but for me, I think I'm going to go with Corey Perry yet again. Gets my boom, because he works damn well with Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. He is not out of place whatsoever. And yes, I understand they allowed Jeff Skinner to play more in the third period and around there, but I do think Corey Perry much like Dry, he's got such a big body. When he's down low and he's got that puck and he's got that frame, it is so hard for other teams to try and get that puck. It looked so frustrating to try and defend, especially 29 and 90 when they're both down there below the goal line. And you got 97 zipping it around the blue line, right? And his IQ in Corey Perry, his IQ is intangibles. They're off the charts. He just knows how to make the subtle, smart plays in tight. A lot of players struggle to physically keep up with Connor McDavid, or even skill-wise keep up with Leon Draisaitl. And Perry's no exception. The boots are not there anymore, but he more than makes up for it with the smart, veteran, high hockey IQ plays that he does. I say this all the time lately. It feels like every other game I'm complimenting Corey Perry, but I feel like I'm blushing right now, because it's just, the dude's been awesome. I appreciate it every bit. I do not expect him to stay on the top line of this team for any significantly long stretch. He's a 4th line guy through and through. We've seen him sit out back-to-backs before, like an old man, like Kawhi Leonard in the NBA. But in spurts, when he's asked to do it, there's not much that Corey Perry doesn't do for this team. I give Corey Perry, he gets a big fat boom for me this evening. Looking in here. Also, somebody said Billy Mays here. Yep, there is that. I'm just trying to find some booms. Kiana says Leon MVP Draisaitl. Yep, I could see that. Percy says boom Scotty. That's Jeffrey Scotty Skinner. We got some more booms for Leon. Embarrassed American boom. Connor squared doom equals RV. Mr. Burns gives her boom to Stuart Skinner. He made some crazy good saves, including that gross poke check on the breakaway. Yeah, that was a gross poke check. That was not as gross as the Connor McDavid dangle in the end of the game. Final buzzer, boom, Leon every game. But I saw one in there that said doom Victor Arvidsson. Actually, Zach, I'll let you go first, then I'll ask you about RV. Who would get the doom for you?
I'm also going to give my doom to the whole team because I really like their response after the first goal from Jordan Kyrou there. Boom and doom is going to be the entire team tonight for me. Call it a cop out. I don't care. Whatever. I thought they could have responded a little bit better in the moment instantly after it. But they got my boom because they responded well in the grand scheme of it. So you know what? It's a wash.
It's the ups, it's the downs, it's the Edmonton Oilers. It's my favorite roller coaster, and without a doubt, my favorite TV show on television right now, because you literally never know what you're going to get. I'm seeing some dooms. Gina, Robert Thomas with that brutal miss on the wide open net in the third, which was great for us. How do you fuck that up? That is astounding. He had a rough game. Stu, so out of position. I could watch this one 1,000 times over, because in a 1-goal game that gets finished in overtime, that net is wide open. Jack and Louie were both talking about Robert Thomas could have had 3 goals. He could have had 4 goals in this one tonight, but no, I mean, he was still good out there. He still gets 1 assist, but this one, look at that freeze frame. Great freeze frame, Pat. Just why? And as why, sit there and go, thank you. Thank you, hockey gods. I appreciate everything you do for me. Some other dooms. Final buzzer says Vegas. Yeah, doom. The Blues fans blaming the refs in their IG comments. I mean, the Matthias Ekholm one was missed, but we definitely did miss a call on Leon Draisaitl. So I will allow some bitching. If we're going to bitch too, they get to bitch as well. But we got to go home with the W in our pocket. That's the difference there. What do we got for dooms? Arvidsson skates, says Lance Kane. Yeah, that one's pretty fair. They got to get sharpened every single game, because I don't know what's going on with that. The guy's got like Bambi ankles or something. He's just Bambi on skates out there at points. And this one, I guess Nathan says, doom. How about the boarding on Hyman? If we're talking penalties that should have been called instead of Matthias Ekholm, I do think the Zach Hyman one was a penalty. But once again, I don't want to play that game. I don't want to do the penalty game back and forth. And this one, I preface with, I saw a lot of people saying it in the chat as well. It's only 3 games. I think I got to be honest. I did not think John Klingberg had a very good game for the Edmonton Oilers this evening. He played 15-55 and in every single category across the board has a 0. And right, once again, it's his 3rd game in 14 months. We are not freaking out, but I couldn't really think of anybody else for my doom, so I'm giving it to Klinger. Not a great game. He had a couple giveaways. Felt like he was forcing some plays. He tried to do a drop pass in the offensive zone. I think it was in the first period that went to no one, created an odd man rush, like a 3-on-1, 3-on-2, going back the other way. He fell over right next to Stuart Skinner at one point, which was very awkward, very weird. Also very Victor Arvidsson-like, if you will. He got popped at center ice at one point as well. Took a big hit, and it was a little bit of everything, right? The up and down. Really is the Swedish Evan Bouchard, if you will. There's good, and then there's bad. But the thing with Klinger that I will say is that, to me, it really just looks like rust. He's in the right places. He's mostly doing the right things. He just kind of looks like, to me, he's not processing the game maybe as fast as you would like him to be. But that's something that's going to come with time, right? He's been out of the NHL for 14 months here. He's got plenty of natural talent. I think he looks great physically. He's skating very well. He's taking hits. He's still playing every game, and he's telling us that he's not in pain. No panic judgments from anybody until we're 8 to 10 games in. 8 to 10 games, I will allow a proper judgment of John Klingberg. But yeah, no, like Jeremy, the boy has new hips. He's got to grow into them. Exactly. He's just trying to work in. Zach, do you think that dude goes off on metal detectors when he goes on airplanes?
Yeah, I think so.
Right?
He'd said something about the surgery is actually like basically just like a hip replacement surgery. So he's got like metal up in the hips and shit now. So yeah, the guy's 100% setting off the buzzers.
Bionic man, if you will. Anybody other dooms? Any booms? Yeah, exactly. Bosch says it. I think Klingberg is just getting acclimated to the speed and precision. Don't forget, he came from the Leafs and Dallas. Yep, who knows? Gord says it might. It might not come back in time. Gina says his hips don't lie. They're just a little slow. I agree with the Doug here. His timing is just off. He'll come back the more he plays. 100%. Because you see him being in the right spots. He's doing the thing. I swear you can just see the wheels turning a little bit too much. And that will come with time. Let's go now to Bordzy's Bankroll, brought to you by Bet365. Download the app today. Use the promo code NATION because whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. People, I was feeling damn good about this one. I sent out a mass Snapchat today to all of my friends, and I said, I am feeling very, very good about this one. And I explained all the reasons why. Well, Pat, let's take them one at a time here. Evan Bouchard, over 2.5 shots on goal. Bang, ka-ching. That one hits. And on the evening, Bouchard finished with 6 shots. Could have juiced that one up a little bit more, but no, we do not get greedy. We move on to the second option. Leon, Connor McDavid's wing. Bang. Of course, he's going to get 3 shots on goal. He finished with 8. I could have taken both of these up to like, and they don't even offer over 7.5 shots, but I could have done it if someone did offer it. But Bet365 is the only place I place my money. And then the last one, McDavid, 1+ power play point. Bang, that one hits as well. Plus 135. That one had the juice. We didn't overthink. The Blues had the 29th ranked power play or penalty kill coming into this one. You take the Oilers power play. You take the best player on the power play, the guy who touches the puck the most. And step 2, profit. Step 1, ride with Bordzy. Step 2, profit. That is not legally binding. I know Lance Gain, he rode with this parlay. He also threw an Oilers money line, which I was sitting there going, Lance, stop doing that. I'm not throwing that in the bet. Just ride with the bet. But no, Lance got some extra juice in there. I see some people being very supportive. It's a Bordzy Hattie. Damn right. We didn't get the Darnell Nurse anytime goal, but I sprinkled Salt Bay on that one. I just sprinkled a little bit there. Shout out to that. We needed to get a win. January wasn't great for Bordzy's Bankroll. February, let's go. We're 5 for our last 6. Zachary, did you make any money on Bet365 or did you tail any of those bets?
No, didn't tail any of them personally for me tonight. I know. I really should have. If I actually went and took out a mortgage on that Draisaitl shot prop, like I thing, that would have been a pretty good move for me here tonight. So, but I did just make a really good move, Bordzy. I made a great move right here. You know, you mentioned this a little earlier in the show, and it's Oodle Noodle. And I've been sitting here and I'm like, ooh, man, I got a little grumbly and the tumbly. I'm feeling a little hungry. So guess what I just did? Put in a little order for a ginger beef box. And I cannot wait for it to show up at Chateau Laing in anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. I'm very excited for it.
Shout out Oodle Noodle. That is the way to celebrate an Edmonton Oilers W. You crack open Odd Company Nation Beer Everyday Lager. Then you take your Oodle Noodle right here. You don't put them together. You don't put them together. You enjoy them separately, but damn it, they are both delicious. Dude, should I order Oodle Noodle right now?
You should do it.
It's not even 10 o'clock. All right. All right, we gotta do the rest of the show in like 15 minutes because the boys gotta eat. Let's go now. Let's do Pat, I don't know if you actually checked into it, but hopefully you did update the tattoo bet graphic because it's brought to you by our friends from Yeti. Shout out to Yeti, crave the cold, and extend your ice time with hard-hitting gear that is built to honor the toughest sport on earth. These coolers, they're fantastic. We all know about the cups, right, and everything. Tyler's talking about it all the time. To be honest with you, I'm talking about it all the time. Keeps it hot, keeps it cold. these Yeti coolers, these things are legit. They're just different. As I also mentioned before, Brett Holden, shout out producer Brett. One time we were doing this tattoo bet thing and Ty Emerson blocked one of the shots and Brett just kind of blacked out for a minute and he went and he headbutted the Yeti cooler thinking it's just some regular old Yeti cooler that's made out of plastic, some bullshit like that. No, not Yeti. And he legitimately grabbed it and headbutted it and almost knocked himself out cold. He goes, I didn't think it would be like that. I didn't think it would be like that. But that's because Yeti built for the wild. All right. Hit it for me here, Patrick, because we see it. I still got it. I still got the one shot block lead. Brett Kulak, he had one this evening, while Ty Emerson also had one. So I came into this one 11-10 lead on our boy Bert. And I'm going to stay with that one blocked shot lead. This thing is stressing me out beyond belief, especially when the Oilers take a penalty every single time. It's so bittersweet because I'm cheering for the Oilers, but I'm cheering for Ty Emerson to let that puck go through and let Stuart Skinner make the save. But the reverse, if it's Brett Kulak, let him get in the way and let him wear one of those. Still looking for tattoo ideas. I believe that we are going to kind of open it up to you guys to start picking for them when we come back from the Four Nations, because we got plenty of time left here in the season. We got less than 30 games left in the season. Can you believe we've already done this many pre-gamings and post-games? Time flies when you're having fun. You spend it with the chat, and I'm literally just yelling to a wall right now. But no, I'm not alone. You guys are fantastic. Shout out to Brett Kulak because he is absolutely fantastic as well. Zach, what do you think I should get tattooed? It's Oilers related. We obviously you could do like Cup year. I could do something Brett Kulak related. Anything that jumps out to you? I've gotten a lot of like caricature designs. Some people said I should get Brett's face tattooed on my leg. Not sure about that one, but who knows? Any ideas?
Oh man, that's a good question. It's a good question. I like the Brett face idea, to be honest with you. I think that's a really good route to go. But even more specifically, get the bread with
that
face in there. That's the way I think you got to do it. Get the whole bread in there.
If I actually like hid that up on my leg enough, like maybe we will. I wouldn't hate that. And also, I love my boy.
Just up
Brett.
on the thigh or something,
I'll put it on my back because Brett's always got my back. Maybe that's something.
There you go.
As well. He's my boy. Sorry, Pat. I love you too. You also have my back as well, but he didn't get it on the bet, which is probably a good choice that he didn't get it on the bet because who knows? One of us is getting tattooed game one of the NHL playoffs live on pre-gaming with a Bordzy. Let's move now. Let's go to the Booster Juice look ahead, courtesy of our friends from Booster Juice. Oilers Nation, we're powered by Booster Juice. Visit a location today to refuel, refresh, and re-energize, or download their new Boost Rewards app to earn, order, and enjoy. I say it all the time, but Sherwood Park actually has the very first ever Booster Juice. It's shockingly close to my house. I love me some, dude, I should get some, I should order Booster Juice with a noodle. Ooh, we're getting ideas. I'm getting hangry now. You mentioned it, and now you can't hear it on the mic, but my tummy is officially grumbling. Hit it for me, Pat. Let's take a look at the schedule. It's 3 games this week, 1 down, 2 to go. Only 1 for your boy Bordzy, though. It's Chicago tomorrow. The Oilers taking on the Hawks down at the United Center. This one, I believe, is starting at 7:30. That I do want to say. Hold on, it'll have to load. But the Oil in Chicago, second half of a back-to-back. We know our pal Calvin Pickard, will be starting in this hockey game. And it's cherry-picked of a matchup as you can get. The Hawks 16-31-5 on the season, 31st in the NHL standings. Losers of 2 straight, 5-1 to the Panthers, 5-1 to the Panthers, 3-2 to the Hurricanes. The Oilers, they beat the Blackhawks 4-3 back on January 11th. Calvin Pickard played that one, stopped 19 of 22. But as you may remember, part of that 3-game losing streak to start the season, the Oilers did lose 5-2 to the Chicago Blackhawks back on October 12th, where Calvin Pickard, again, in that one, he got the loss, allowing 5 goals on 20 shots. And here we are again. Calvin Pickard gets the Hawks again. So, Zachary, Obviously, we should have confidence in Calvin Pickard. We should have the most confidence in the Edmonton Oilers. They should whomp the Chicago Blackhawks tomorrow.
Yep. Yeah, it should be a big game for the Edmonton Oilers tomorrow. Travel the second half of a back-to-back is usually never kind to teams who are traveling. Historically over the last, I think, 10 years. They've only won like 45% of those games or 42% of those games. So the odds are not in the Edmonton Oilers' favor when you look at the historical numbers. But when you look at the matchup and the Oilers going up against the Chicago Blackhawks right now, ugh. They're still a young team. Connor Bedard is kind of finding his stride here as of late, and so is Tyler Bertuzzi. The two of them have been put together up on that top line. They've been really great here over this last little stretch. So you always got to watch out for those guys. Not a whole lot other that you got to kind of keep a real close eye on for that Blackhawks team right now.
No more Taylor Hall. Another home lost for our boy Taylor Hall. Also, Commodore has been better. And I tell you, I need him to be better because I have him in fantasy. And over this weekend, I lost Josh Norris and Matt Barzell. So that was a big kick in the dick. So I'm going to need Connor Bedard to step it up for Bordzy's fantasy squad in the Oilersnation League. I know you guys don't care about my team, but I just thought I'd throw it in there. Final one, shout out to the Edmonton Police Service. We want to remind you to curb the danger, report an impaired driver by calling 911. If you suspect a driver is impaired by drugs or alcohol, call 911 immediately. You'll be asked to report the last direction of travel, vehicle description, and plate number. If possible, please keep the vehicle in sight, but do not attempt to chase the vehicle or break the law to do so. Remember, driving under the influence of drugs is impaired driving, even if it is cannabis or prescription medications. Be smart out there, people. It's a Tuesday, every day of the week. Come on. I need all you guys in my chat. I need all the viewers I can get. I need all the likes. We need all the great Oilers discussion we can get in the chat. And you can't do that if you make a terrible decision. So shout out to the EPS. And I believe that is everything I got. I guess the only thing else I could mention is that the Edmonton Oilers are first place in the Pacific Division officially, baby. They're feeling good. They are 70 points, while the Vegas Golden Knights 68. The Edmonton Oilers still have one game in hand. They have played 53 games, while the Golden Knights have played 54. The Oil 2 points up. The Golden Knights have just been falling apart recently. Somebody mentioned 2-8 in their last 10, and this evening it was against the New York Islanders. The Islanders, without Barzell, they won by a score of 2-1. The Golden Knights could only get one goal. It was Ilya Samsonov in the net. Holy shit. Samsonov only had 14 shots against, and he allowed 2 goals. Wow. Shout out Ilya Sorokin, 33 saves on 34 shots. I appreciate you. I thank you, Ilya Sorokin. Thank you for doing that, and I tip my cap to you. Zachary, I also tip my cap to you. We battled through some internet issues earlier today on pre-gaming, but looking pretty solid this entire show. You're my number one bullpen call for a reason, and I thank you.
You know what? It's much appreciated. It was really disappointing. It actually turned out there was a power outage here in Edmonton, or like Shaw Rogers had some kind of outages going on across the city. Well, your boy got caught up in it, and it sucked. But you know what? We rallied. We recovered the microphone, cooperating for the entire show here, the internet all around me, cooperating for the entirety of the show here, and so was my my driver, who is cooperating with my Oodle Noodle pickup. We're about 8 minutes away from go time, folks. 8 minutes. Ginger beef box, 2 green onion cakes. Very excited.
I want you to get the word out. We back up, baby. We back up. The Edmonton Oilers back in the win column. Also want to remind you, tomorrow we got pre-gaming. We got post-gaming as well. And tomorrow, people, I hate to say it, but no, I don't, because I am so excited for my weekend that I have upcoming. Tomorrow will be the last time you get to see this face for quite some time, because we're not going to have any pre or post for the 2 weeks over the 4 Nations. Maybe that's why you should come out to Greta Bar, because we're going to be partying there for Team USA against Team Canada tomorrow. Pre-gaming live at 6:30 p.m. I believe we're going to be in studio. We're going to send me off right before I head out to Arizona for the waste management this weekend. Also, if you're going to Arizona and you're going to be down there, shoot me a DM. Shoot me something. Come on, let's go crush a beer together. They don't got Odd Company beers out there, but we can drink any type of beer you'd like, and I am very excited for that one. Zach, I love you. Patrick Puff, behind the scenes, I love you. And of course, everybody in the chat as well. It's an Oilers W. We feel great about it. I appreciate you all. Sleep tight and enjoy your oodle noodle, Zach. Talk
Thank you.
tomorrow.
I'm very excited.